Hey there, folks. Foggy here. Welcome to day 208 of my year of solo board gaming, considered by many to be ill-advised and stupid. We have ourselves the second round of Last Aurora. We're on the beta side this time. There are two sides to the map. One is the alpha side, the other is the beta side. The big difference between the two is that the beta side has some what are called avalanches and dangerous shortcuts. Now, the setup is very similar to the same. You're going to take these little alpha things that are marked, and they're going to go on these spots here, and they're basically going to get spread out across the entire thing, except for the spots that have little avalanche symbols next to them. For the avalanche symbols, you're going to take these little avalanche markers and you're going to push them over. And basically, if somebody takes this shortcut, they are then going to knock this down into that spot, and then that's going to get rid of that being available. Now, in the case of the first two, if you take those shortcuts, they actually don't save you any time, but what they do is they actually give you a benefit. So, for example, over here, you'll actually lose some radiation. Over here, you'll lose some radiation, even though it doesn't save you any time. Over here, it will actually not make that much difference because you're going to suffer 2 damage by going this way, but you'll also suffer 2 damage by going this way, but it is 1 step shorter, so it is a little bit quicker to go that way. And then, in addition, the Aurora itself is over here, but there's a shortcut that actually takes you to the 2. So it's going to be a little bit longer if you don't have anything that allows you to go through there to get that set up. There are some different options here for the bonus actions. This one, for example, you still have repair the truck and heal radiation, or spend a fuel and go to spaces. Now notice that is go to spaces, not go the speed of your truck. So if you've got a 4, for example, it's probably not a good idea because you can use the fuel on your movement turn to just simply go an extra 4 spaces. Over here we've got heal radiation as before, or you can grab something from the discard pile that's a convoy piece, either a truck, trailer, or device, as long as it's not another player's. If we were playing a 2-player game, I couldn't then go in and grab the red player's container truck, for example. That's not really an option here, but basically allows you to rummage the discard pile for better things, which means pieces that may have gone by suddenly become available, and that changes the game, I think, quite a bit, to be quite honest. Over here, in addition to repairing the truck twice, you also have spend an ammo to attack an enemy in your region. And that is using a weapon. You are not then limited to using the weapon in the firing round, the enemy round, phase 4. You can still use that weapon again as long as you still have ammo for it. Big cup of coffee here. Over here, we still have the same. Take some damage and you can get food or a bullet, or you can lose some fame and gain some fuel. Now, the fame track, as before, if you are down on the very bottom, you can still lose fame. You just have to take damage to your vehicle. And if you are at the top and gain fame, you get to repair damage to your vehicle, because that's how fame works. And then over here, this is still the same. Take a radiation and get some fuel option. The Automaton always takes shortcuts, and there's nothing really explicit in the instructions that I could find about how it will operate with the shortcuts here, but given that the Automata would basically do whatever's beneficial for it, it will go ahead and take this shortcut if it's available. If this shortcut's available, it'll take it. If this shortcut's available, it'll take it. The dangerous shortcuts are the ones that are tricky, because let's say you get to here and you have the option of either going this way or going around this way. So you don't need to use special gear to take this shortcut. There's no marker on it, so whereas you would need special gear for that one, or that one, you can take this shortcut regardless. Any convoy can take it. However, if you do, you'll take 2 radiation. Similarly, over here, you'll take radiation and a damage. So the Automata would take these shortcuts because, again, it's going to try to follow the shortest path, but that does mean some pretty nasty effects as a result. So let's go ahead and shuffle up the Automata deck, and then I'm going to show you how to actually prepare the deck, the resources deck over here. So that's not something I really showed you last time. So when you are playing this game, there are 3 cards available there are a bunch of cards available that have little plus signs on them. So for example, in round 3, there are 3 cards like this. There's the Tracked Turbo Truck, which is an amazing truck, Early Departure, and Cannon. So what you do is you shuffle these up, and one of them, unseen to you, is going to go bye-bye. And then you're going to attach that to these three, and we'll shuffle this up. Shuffle this deck up. I'm going to try to make sure I'm doing this a little bit on screen at least. I should check something real quick, actually. So that's not bad. It's not great. I'm just going to adjust the resolution of the image here, which means that everything's going to get a little blown out. Something I was realizing earlier. I probably should have checked this earlier. Still getting used to having this new setup and the new camera, new computer, and having to deal with what happens when I unplug the camera from the computer and take the computer somewhere, because it is a laptop. And one of the things that happens is it changes the resolution on the image. And I found like some of the ones that I recorded were like such ridiculously low resolution, it wasn't even funny. Now for round two, the ones with the 2 on the back, and not round 2 per se, but just simply the 2 deck, we've got 9 cards that have exploration little plus symbols on them, a number of vehicles, number of survivors, and some events and so on. We're going to shuffle this up, and then we're going to deal out 4. Now on the map, on this thing, there is a handy little extra cards thing that tells you how many cards you're going to be adding in. If you were doing a 4-player game, you just throw all of them in. You just throw all of them in, you shuffle to your heart's content. But if you're doing a 3-player game, you only use 6 of them. And if you're doing a 2-player game, you're going to only use 4 of them. So we're going to deal out 4 cards, put that on there, and we're not going to look at the other cards. And then we're going to do the same over here, and then we'll do the shuffles. So we've got 9 cards again that have plus symbols on them. This should be upside down. I was trying to think of one of the other things I forgot to do yesterday near the end of the game, and it didn't really make a difference because I didn't have to lose anything. I think I should it may have affected whether or not I had an extra bullet. And that was when one of my survivors died up. I should have gotten the survivor off my convoy. So we were carrying around corpses. Very, very disturbing. Found a bird corpse in my library today. That was fun. That was a lot of fun. All right, so this is going to join here. There is definitely an up and down to these cards, I'm noticing. But it's very subtle. I almost kind of wish it was a little bit more distinct. I feel like you could set up the deck and just be like really sneaky that way. All right. Like for example, we've got this card is down, this card is down, this card is down. All right, there we go. And then that'll go on top of here, and we'll shuffle. I'm just going to go through all of these and just make sure that they are all correct. Yeah, and what's weird is it's not the bonus cards. It's just simply they're cards that got twisted around. Finally, we've got the 1 here. We're going to shuffle this up, and basically you're making a stack, much like if you were doing in any other game that has sort of like advanced cards. Solar Storm was like that, where it had a deck that had 1, 2s, and 3s, and basically as you went along, the damage got worse because the cards were getting more serious. And so this is much the same way. I'm excited for this action here. Then we deal out the top 3 cards, Contaminated Storehouse, Rubble, and a Camper. So a lot of resources available, and one of the problems is that I don't have any space to put resources. So that is something that I think what I'm probably going to have to do. I don't like the Contaminated Storehouse because that is a lot of... I don't want to get radiation this early. As you know, in the last game that I played of this, not the last game that I played on stream, last game I played on the stream was that Escape the Dark Castle crap. I had some problems with radiation over the course of the game. That was pretty nasty. Now the camper over here is actually going to do me no good whatsoever, which is interesting because it can only hold survivors, and that would only really free up 1 extra space up here on the front. So the first thing that we're going to do is I'm going to get to go first, and they're going to get to go second. So the question is, do I want a rusty container just to have the extra space for holding things? Do I want to go ahead and get the camper this early? I could go ahead and get the rubble and get this side of it because I'll have room for the food. And then the object you don't put in your convoy, you just simply grab an object from up there. Personally, I'd rather get the fuel, but I really don't want the contamination this early. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and go to the rubble. I don't then want to do anything here. And there's no enemy to fight, to shoot at. So yeah, I'm going to go ahead and... So the leader just simply gets exhausted. He moves into the rest areas instead of the exhausted area. We're going to go ahead and pick up the food. And we're going to go ahead and grab this. It's nitrous oxide. During your movement phase, your truck gains +1. I don't see a discard on that. I have to assume that there's a discard on it. I mean, it doesn't make much sense for the nitrous oxide to be permanent. But if it is, that's pretty awesome. There is a really good appendix in here of literally every single card that's in here. So it explains pretty much everything. Yeah, I'm not seeing a discard on a lot of these. Except some of them do actually say discard. So like the nitromethane is discard specifically. It turns your food into fuel. But I have to imagine that the objects are definitely usable. Sorry to do this. I feel bad. I feel horrible every time I have a rules question while playing this game. So fortunately, the game's designer, Mauro, I'm going to screw up the last name here, Chaboto, Mauro Chaboto, is active in the forum for this game on Board Game Geek. So if you have questions about this game, I would definitely suggest heading over there. And hopefully maybe he'll get to watch this playthrough. In which case, Mr. Chaboto, I'm enjoying this game. This is quite a bit of an enjoyable game. I do wish it were a little shorter. That's the only thing I wish. Okay, so Last Aurora forums. Let's do a search for objects. Because that's what they're called, right? Objects. Do. Yeah, I'm not really finding anything that helps explain it. Because it feels a little bit too... It feels a little bit too overpowered to say that they aren't discarded. Because I feel like you just simply should use the item. And the appendix, again, the appendix is a really good appendix, but it doesn't really say anything. Back when I was actually taking the time to edit these videos, this is the sort of segment that I would actually edit out. Me taking the time to look up rolls, which is why these are not fun videos to watch. And for those of you who are watching them, I greatly appreciate it because, good lord. Yeah, and the thing is, like, they're all objects that feel, with the exception of the hazmat suit, and the hazmat suit actually explicitly says discard, they all feel like things that you should discard. At the end of it. I mean, welding torch I could see keeping. All right, you know what? I'm gonna rule that since they do not say discard, and feel free to let me know in the comments with your opinion. Let me know if you're not supposed to get rid of them. I'm not going to get rid of them. They don't say discard, so I'm just going to go ahead and use them. You are limited to 3 though. You're limited to 3 objects at any one time, so that might be why there's a limit of 3. Because otherwise you could just burn through them, so to speak. All right. With that having been said, we're now going to. I forgot to set out the automa cards because that is the thing that I forget to do the most. We're going to go ahead and flip here. The first one is going to be gather resources, and it's going to go to the left-hand one of the cards that have resources, and it's going to get the left-hand resources. So it'll get a food, it'll get a fuel, but it also is going to contaminate a survivor. We're then going to go again. Now, in this case, I could go... I feel like what I really wanted was just simply... I would have liked to have so if I eat food, if I do eat food, I can have her go to one of these and then eat some food again to do the exhaustion to rest, but that's not going to free up 2 spaces. It's only going to free up 1 space. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the rusty container just simply to have the extra space for resources. Move her here. And then we're going to flip over here. And this time it's discard convoy first. Oh, we forgot to move all these down. I forgot to move all these. What am I blaming you for? You didn't have anything to do with that. Oh, machine gun. Got to get that machine gun. All right, so discard convoy is going to be the first thing. And that is the only convoy that's up. So that is going to get discarded. Machine gun is going to come down here. And now we got armored truck. Ooh, that's even better. Actually, I don't like that armored truck. It's only really got a +1 on it, so that's the only thing about it. All right, so that's it. Now we go to the rest phase. For the rest phase, I'm going to eat some food so I can move our co-pilot along to the rest zone, and then the rest zone folks all come up here. In addition, the automata is going to eat all their food to bring out 2 extra spots. All right, so we know that actually 1 and 3 are going to go on this next round, by the way. All right, so movement phase operates in the opposite order of the exploration phase. Now, if in the exploration phase, if you do actually move, which we could have, I went here, so I could have gone ahead and, since I didn't have any radiation to worry about or damage to worry about, I could have gone ahead and used 1 fuel to go forward 2 spaces, which would have been kind of stupid to do, because then I wouldn't have had any fuel to move later. But I could have, and if that were the case, then the move order and the fire order would be changed before we actually started the movement phase. So you're going to adjust the turn order once at the end of the turn phase, and then again at the end of the movement phase. However, in this case, we're simply at the beginning of the game and nobody's moved, so let's go. They're going to move first. They've got a base movement of 2. No additional movement, but they are going to get 1 movement extra for each fuel. So they're going to go 4 spaces total. And they're going to use the shortcut the first time they come across it. So they're going to go 1, 2, 3, and then 4. Uh-oh. They get radiated. So now we've got a second survivor radiated, which is exciting because now they can actually get irradiated for good. So that's fun. We've only got 1 fuel. We are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 spaces behind, so we're not going to get an extra there. We're going to go a total of 3 spaces, which is not much. It does mean that we're not going to be able to get up to this first, most likely, which I'd really like to be able to do. The one possibility is that we grab 2 fuels in the next round and then can just go around. I almost forgot, the movement, this is going to allow us to go +1. So we're going to get up to here if we decide to move. And we're going to decide to move. We're just going to go ahead and move. There's no enemy out. There's no reason not to. So we move that. Okay, so we've done our movement phase. There's no enemy phase. There are no enemies out. So we go to the end of the round. The first thing that we're going to do is we're going to reset the board. These first three all go away. When you're playing three or four players, by the way, it's not the same number that get removed. I think it's just 2 cards. It's only in the 2-player and solo version that you remove 3. I'm just knocking this microphone around all over the place. We got the shooter, the good old shooter. We want him. We got our first enemy. And we got the track truck. The track truck would also be very useful. Finally, we've got some endgame stuff to worry about. Okay, so we're going to add... Yeah, the only thing that we have to worry about is that they are going to heal one of their survivors. We're going to get radiation, which I think that's the worst part of the Automata deck, is that you always know that you're going to get some irradiation at some point. All right. So now they are ahead, so they're going to get to go first. And I think that's it for the round. The Automata is going to move forward 1. The Aurora is going to move forward 1, not the Automata. The Aurora is going to move forward 1, and we're going to go ahead and start round 2. They're going to heal some damage, and they've got some extra weapons to deal with. First thing they're going to do, they've still only got 2 survivors, so they're just going to deal out their 2 cards. We also know that they're going to go for these 2 cards here. So I think what we're going to do is we're immediately just going to grab this one right here. I'd prefer it to be the leader because he could heal some radiation then, but I feel like what I want is to go ahead and get this machine gun so we can deal with enemies better. So we're going to move her here. We're going to put the machine gun here. Everything's going to slide down. Okay, we got a mechanic, which would be nice because that would help heal damage along the way. Slide this down just a little bit. Really am struggling to get this all on the board, all on the table at the same time. She can heal the truck, so we're going to go ahead and do that. We're going to make sure that she heals that 1 damage. She's then going to eat some food so she can be ready for the next round. And now the Automata is going to get to go. They're going to go and take the mechanic. Jerk. So the mechanic is dead, gone. And they're going to get an extra person. Movement phase. Before movement, the Automata gains 1 survivor if you have more survivors than him. And at the end of the round, we're going to add a thing. We also know that on the next turn, they're going to get this armored truck. They're going to get rid of the convoy, which allows them to heal damage. The big thing for us is that... there's the tanker. I would kind of rather wait for the track truck. The bigger problem is that we do not have any fuel whatsoever. Now, I would like to deal with their radiation. I would like to get this shooter, because otherwise we're going to pass on the shooter, and I really don't want to do that. But I also want to get some fuel, because otherwise we're just sort of stuck here, which is not going to be fun. We do know that they're going to take that shortcut immediately. And one of the other things that I found last time is that because I did not have I had so few survivors, it was difficult to stay up on this. So we're going to send the leader to pick up the shooter. We're going to heal some radiation while we're at it. So that is going to go away. This is all going to come down. We're going to deal one of these out. The Hermit is now available. And then I think that's going to be it for me. I'm not going to have any fuel this round, but that's okay. We're going to flip this. 1. If there's an enemy in the slot, there's not. We're just simply going to get rid of it. It heals damage, but there's no damage to heal. And then there's a movement phase aspect to it. Little baggage rack. Cute little baggage rack. All right, so now we're going to go to the rest phase. Everybody's in the rest mode over here. So we're going to bring everybody over here. Put an exploration skill order. I forgot to add a survivor for myself. It has no food, so it's not going to deal any additional cards. It's just got the 2 that are out. We now go to the movement phase. For the movement phase, it's going to go a total of 2, and that's it. However, it's going to gain a survivor if it does not have more survivors than us, or if we have more survivors than it, and that's not the case. It will gain, if it has no fuel, it will gain a fuel. Otherwise, it gains a bullet. So I'd rather have it gain the fuel. So it's going to move a total of 3, and it's going to go through here. 1, 2, 3. It is going to take shortcuts. So that'll actually be 1, 2, 3. It gets its first bullet. It's also going to take 2 damage, which is kind of nice. So we're just simply going to add the damage here. Actually, I want to check this. I think whenever it takes damage, we have to draw the outcome cards. Yeah, we have to draw the outcome cards. Sorry about that. All right. So let's flip this over. It's going to damage its weapon. I don't know why I put the bullet there. And then it's going to damage its food area. So there's damage there and damage there. All right. And it healed one of its contaminated survivors. So they're going to come up there. All right. Now we're going to move, except we can't move. We're sort of stuck in the water because we have no fuel. Now we're going to go to the ambush phase. Each convoy receives a damage in its lower area. So we're going to add that damage to the rusty container, because if we can replace the rusty container, we will. And then finally, a damage for this dude. It's going to be A, but however, since it can't take any damage, this is bad for the automata. Since it can't take any damage here, because it's already damaged, we're going to continue to go to the left, and now its weapons are completely out. Poor little automata. We are suffering no such problems. So we've got our loot card out, and it's time for the enemy. We're going to attack the enemy back. Now, the automata would get to go first, except it's got no weapons, so we're going to get to go first. We are simply going to use... we've got 2 weapons available, but we've only got 1 bullet. We're going to go ahead and use the 2. With the shooter, we're going to get an extra damage if we hit. We hit... Oh, crud. Had we used our 1, we would have been in a better situation. We're going to damage the weapon. It's going to jam up. That's what that little jam symbol is. So we're going to put a damage token over it and use this. But we do more than enough damage. Like, that is a lot of damage. So that is done. And now we can draw an item card, except we were the only ones to actually shoot it. So we're going to gain some fame, and we're going to get this loot card. And it's going to be a prisoner. The prisoner will go into our rest area. However, we will go ahead and add 1 more survivor. Thankfully, at the end of the movement phase, we're not at the end of the movement phase. We're well past that, so I'm not going to have to worry about that. End of the round, we're going to gain some damage. So we're going to go ahead and damage this rusty container and be okay with that. Okay, so that's it for that. We're going to go ahead and take these. We're going to get rid of cards until there's only 2 left. The Hermit is down here. We'll probably pick up the Hermit. There's the other enemy for round 1. There's the machine gun, which would be nice to have, and a supermarket. Oh, that supermarket would be really useful. That supermarket would be really useful because we really do need some weapons. We need some food. We might hit that quite a bit. All right. So first up, let's see. They're going to move here. They're going to get a couple movement. They're still not going to be able to do any damage. Like, that's the crazy thing, is that they've got so much damage now. It's not even funny. They do have 3 survivors, though, so they're going to get 3 chances to get stuff and potentially get some survive. Well, no survivors out. We are going to get to go first because we're further back. Oh, and I forgot to close that off. So that is now closed. I cannot use that to heal anybody. I do kind of want to get ahead. All right. So 1. Sorry, I should not have flipped that over. Let's just move that to the bottom. No. Let's just take it. Didn't really look at it. I know the number on it, but I didn't really look at it that closely. So my first option is that I can go for the exploration round and grab... Oh, I should have moved this guy ahead. Grab that fuel and food. I think I got to start with that. I got to start with the food and the fuel. And the question is, do I want to take the radiation? And I think the answer is yes. I think I'm going to go ahead and take the radiation so I can get one more fuel. The problem is I have no place to put that fuel, so I'm not going to do something that stupid. Okay, never mind. That was that. We're now going to flip over the first card here. It's discard encounter. There's no encounter. Discard convoy. So it'll discard the convoy. It'll get rid of this. And that means that it will now repair starting here and working its way down column by column. So it'll hit the A column here and heal one of its weapons. A much needed healing, I would imagine. We've got the armored camper there. So I could get the armored camper and then replace the rusty container with it, which is not the worst idea in the world. I would kind of rather go for the hermit, though. I'm going to use the co-pilot. I'm going to grab the hermit. We're going to heal some damage. We're going to heal the weapon up here. It's probably our first priority. And then we're going to use some food so I can keep the co-pilot moving up here. And then everything comes down one. Got a radio telescope. The radio telescope would be nice because there is nothing bad about that. If that comes down to a 2. Oh, the hermit. I picked up the hermit. The hermit should have gone into here, I think. That's my bad. I kind of want to get food for my shooter because what I want to do is make sure that I can get the shooter available for shooting the enemy this round. Next up, we're going to get 3, and it's going to take the left-hand side. So it's going to get an object, and it's going to get some fuel. We're not going to look at the object. It's going to gain a survivor this round, too, which sucks. I could go here and then just damage, repair 2 damage, which might not be a bad idea. It's also going to give me an ammo. So yeah, I'm going to go here. We're going to grab these items. We're going to heal the 2 damage. And you can do these in either order. So I'm going to heal the damage to the rusty container. We're going to put the food there and the bullet here. That's going to get rid of the supermarket. This will come down. Our survivor will go to the exhausted zone. And then this armor tanker will come up. Finally, the last card here is going to be 2. It's recruit a survivor. There's no survivor. Gather resources. So it'll gather resources off here. It'll grab some food and a bullet. It's got a lot of bullets and almost nothing to work with. And then we're going to pull this down, and we got the jackal out. All right. So now our exploration is done. We're going to go ahead and rest. I'm going to eat some food. So the survivor, the shooter, can join us up here. And now everybody will be up here. Oh, I have 5 survivors. I need a space for the survivor too. We'll go ahead and use the spot here. Actually, we'll keep a survivor up here at the top. That'll be our soldier. He's up there at the top. But we got 5 survivors. That's pretty good. Okay. Was the prisoner what I was supposed to? I think the prisoner is the one that I made a mistake with. I don't know. I feel like I made a mistake with one of the survivors not. I should have one of the survivors should not be ready. No, because we got the survivor, we got the prisoner as part of the rest, part of the loot. So she went into rest. That's why she's only coming into here now. Got it. Okay. We're going to rest over here, which means we're going to eat some food, and we're going to deal 1 more card. And now we're going to go to the movement phase. It gets to move first. It's going to move a total of 4 plus 2 is 6. So it's going to move 6 spaces. 1, 2. And it will take... Oh, and it does gain a survivor at this point because we've got more survivors than him. Gains a traction on the first time it can do this. So where were we? We were here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So it used that shortcut there to be able to get into the advance. Now here's the funny thing. We know that an enemy's coming up, but there's a good chance that we're not going to be able to get that far. We're pretty far behind. Now the co-pilot will give us +2. we're more than 6 spaces behind. This will give us 2, and this will give us +1. So we're going to move 5 spaces. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We could, if we wanted to, take the shortcut, take 2 damage, and end up not getting anything. That'd be stupid. So 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Is that right? How did I miscount that? We are going to take the damage so we can get some food, which would mean that we couldn't pick up the food. We've only got 1 bullet. I can let the thing in the front get damaged. All right, there we go. So I took the smaller shortcut. That meant 2 damage. We're going to damage that. One of our weapons is unavailable. Put some damage in the rusty container and put some food in the rusty container for next time. All right. Now here's the funny thing. I can't shoot at the enemy because I'm not in the right zone. I'm still back in the plains, not in the canyon. So the first thing that's going to happen is the werewolves are going to come out. They're going to ambush. And they're going to do 1 damage to the top section. However, for the this guy, it's going to be the D in this column. So take some damage there. Now the werewolves are active. We're going to go ahead and pull this card, and we're just going to use this area here since it's less distance for me to reach. And we'll go ahead and move these off the board since they're no longer important. All right, so it gets to fire. It'll fire 1 bullet. It's only got 1 gun to work with. I've been putting damage in my bullets. That's poetic in a way. And for the 2 weapon, it misses. Good job. This is crazy. I do want to check on the fire weapons thing. I've been assuming that you can only fire weapons at... Yeah, each player may attack enemies in the same region as his convoy token. So right now, I can't fire at them. You're on your own, dude. The enemies fire back because it's only got the 1 weapon to work with. And the enemies, which are a level 1 enemy, will do 1 damage. Specifically, they are the number 1 enemy. There's a 1 through 6 here, so each of these each of these numbers will result in a different enemy. This was werewolves at the top. They're going to do 1 damage to the automata. Takes damage in D. So they're going to lose another bullet area. All right. The automata is getting messed up, man. We're going to leave this here, even though it's attacking the canyon. Again, just because it's easier to reach. So that is the end of the fire weapons phase. We now go to the end of the round. We're going to first clear out these extra cards here. These will all come down. We're going to get a tanker shipwreck, Vulcan gun, and ruined settlement. So we got a lot of things that are probably not great to go to. We've got an object. We got fuel. Got a lot of fuel, actually. That tanker shortcut, tanker shipwreck might be worth getting. So I think the thing that we have to do is we have to basically get something to help us with hauling things. All right, so that's that. We're going to move this along. And then we're going to do some damage to myself. I'm going to take 1 damage, radiation-wise. I'm going to go ahead and let the Hermit take it. I might not use the Hermit to explore. Let's see. At the end of the round, we add 1 bullet. And I'm going to have to go ahead and damage the other machine gun, which... Oh, no, I did not use a bullet because there was nobody for me to fire at. And then I'm going to add another one. And I don't have another place to put another one. Crud. So I think I have to let it shoot the food. What happens if I have to take damage and there's no more space? That is a good question. Beta map, This is, I think, going to be a difficult thing to find, just simply because of... You would think that this would be a little bit easier to find in here. Simply because I feel like this is a very relevant topic. Like, what happens if you get damage and you can't take damage? And I am not finding anything. Yeah, all right, I couldn't find anything. So I'm going to assume that this will just simply take out something I already have. So there we go. All right, so screw you, Automata. That was harsh. Okay, so now we're going to go ahead and start round 4. Round 4, they're going to move up like this, which means they're going to finally have a weapon, another weapon to use. All right, so our first exploration... we need to get... kind of want to get that armored tankard first. So I'm going to go ahead... I also kind of want to repair some damage too. Because I've got the Hermit, I can actually ignore... Yeah, I'm going to send the shooter out. I'm going to send the co-pilot... Sorry. I'm going to send the co-pilot and the Hermit out together. And what that means is that while they're exploring, they can ignore the radiation here. They're going to, first of all, fix some damage. Then they're going to grab the food and the fuel. They're going to come over here. And when I have the advantage, when I have the opportunity, I will go ahead and have the pilot eat some food to get better. I forgot to deal out cards over here, so we're going to deal 2 there. It's now got 4 survivors. So we'll deal out 2 additional cards. Let's take these 2. Put these on top. 2, gather resources. So there's only one spot to gather resources from. So we'll gather the 2 fuel. And we'll gain 1 radiation. But that is now exhausted. So this is going to come down. Police station. I really, really need to get something useful here. I do not have any place to put things. That's the frustration. We're going to have the shooter go out and get the Vulcan gun. And actually, that's not a good idea because right now, I really do need a 3rd thing. So let's take a quick look at the discarded stuff because this is actually something that I should consider. We've got an armored camper which can hold a bunch of survivors in it. We've got a little baggage rack. We've got their tracked truck, which would be actually really useful. The problem being is that it would actually leave me with 1 fewer spots. We've got a tanker truck, an armored truck. Okay, so we got a bunch of stuff in the discards that I think are going to be useful, but I think instead I'm going to have the prisoner do some exploration here on the armored and pick this up. We're going to go ahead and... Yeah, this is going to seem crazy. We're going to have the armored truck replace the rusty container. we're going to heal some damage. I was going to have the fuel move us up by 2, just simply so we could pick up the other fuel. Which is probably not a bad idea, but I think in this case, it doesn't really make a whole lot of sense. So then we can move this here, and now we've got a little bit more space to work with. So everything comes sliding down. I really do want that Vulcan gun. I'm worried I'm not going to get it. So the merchant comes out. One, the jackal goes away. That's a bummer. It's going to gain a bullet, but it can't gain a bullet because it's got... No, it can gain a bullet. It can gain a bullet right there. But it does add a survivor, so now it's at 5. Vulcan gun drops down here. Now we're going to grab the turbo truck. Oh, holy cow. We're so grabbing the turbo truck. It's not even funny. Do it. Can I get the turbo truck? I'm going to grab it. I'm going to grab the turbo truck because this will still be available to me. But we're grabbing this. And the way this works is that we can get rid of the damage. We don't need to worry about that anymore. The survivors will have to reshuffle. And you'll go directly here. All right, so that'll go into discard. Sorry, not the shooter. That's the leader. It's the leader that will go there. Then we replace this card, and we got a wrecked helicopter. We have all sorts of things that are out and about right now that I would love to be able to get, but I think what I need to focus on is getting some more capacity or better guns. I kind of want that Vulcan gun. All right, so I think, yeah, they're going to take the left-hand side of this, so they'll get food and fuel. Was that here or here? I think that was here. All right, we still got one more there. So let's consider our options here. I could, if I wanted to, I could go here and then dig out that topper, the little baggage rack, and that'll give me an extra 2 spaces. But I think I really would rather just go get the Vulcan gun. And the thing is, if I do that, what am I then going to do? Well, I may as well shoot 2 forward, except now each fuel is going to give me an extra 3. Could eat the food. I don't think that would really be helpful. I'd love to be able to get bullets. I think my big concern is that I really do need some... I need space. I need more space here. Can't add another trailer truck yet. All right, I'm going to go to the ruined settlement, mostly because I'm not too worried about the fame aspect of it. Because I'm sure I'm going to lose fame this round. We're going to go ahead and do the bonus action first. Grab the little baggage rack out of the discard. We're then going to go ahead and grab... Let's grab some fuel and a bullet. And we lose some fame as a result. And now the shooter is actually going to eat some food. Because as much as I would like to have the extra bonus movement from the pilot, I think I'd rather have the shooter out doing some damage to whatever enemies. Actually, no, let's take that. I take that back. I take that back. Let's see how movement treats us. Actually, no, we can't. Because we have that. Everybody comes here. So yeah, I better go ahead and have the pilot come out. And then we still have one more. Sorry, I'm screwing this up left and right here. Gather resources. It's going to take these 2 bullets, which it can't do anything with. That is a good question. Oh yeah, no, it can gather those. It can gather those and put those here. It can gather up to 7 resource tokens of each type. So that's how that works. All right, so then it's going to eat some food as well, pushing it up to a 5th card. Which, again, I really hate that. I really hate you're always dealing with everything in the survivor deck after a certain round. But now it's going to move. So it's going to move a total of 2 + 2 + 3. So it's 7 spaces total. And it's going to take shortcuts each time. So 1, 2, 3. And we'll take 2 radiation. 4, 5. 1 more radiation and 1 more damage. This time to the C. 6. Yeah, 7. So it almost got completely off the thing. So now we're going to be able to go a total of 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 if we want to. Let's figure out how far we go on this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. We'll be able to take that shortcut there and then heal somebody from radiation damage. We'll probably do that for the Hermit. We could, if we wanted to, take some shortcuts. I don't think that we want to. And we could hold off on using all our fuel. So let's say we decided to hold off on our fuel and use 3 less. We could go 1, 2, 3. I think we're going to burn all our fuel. We're going to burn all our fuel. That's going to put us here. We're going to use that shortcut to heal radiation from somebody. And I think that works. All right, so now we go to the the enemy order. The Automata is going to get to act first. It's going to fire with its 3 weapon. It's got 2 weapons, so it'll fire twice. With its 3 weapons, it does take out the Warwolves. It is the only player to do so. So it goes up, and then we'll get its bonus. And there's nothing for us to do. We can't really shoot at something that doesn't exist, which is unfortunate. Okay, so that is their end of the enemy round. Now we're going to do the end of the phase. We're going to pull all these. I think I forgot to pull damage for that police station because it did go to the police station, so we're going to do damage one more time. Sorry, I keep forgetting about these things after the fact. It's going to hit C. I will say, it's nice that it's getting so much more damage this time around. And that should go there. All right, these cards are going to go away. The Merchant and the Wrecked Helicopter will come all the way down here. I think pretty much I'm going to go straight for the helicopter. Let's see what comes up. We got Biomass Recycler, which means you get food each round. We got the Explorer, which would be really helpful. And then Rendell and Rendell, and they're going to come out and basically be jerks. Before we do that, we have to take a look at any enemy end of stuff here. It had fuel, so it did gain a bullet instead. I forgot to take care of that. They're going to heal 1 person. We're going to gain 1 radiation. We'll gain that on the Hermit again. We add 2 bullets, and then the fame thing is not something we have to worry about. We have 1 spot that can take damage, and damage only, so we'll hit there. Like that. It's got 5 survivors, so on this round, We're just going to leave one card here. And the rest of these will be a little pile of cards over here. All right, and since we're still behind, we don't have to update the turn order. We're still way behind. We're going to go ahead and we really need some fuel. I kind of want to pick up the survivor, the explorer. I really don't want him to get another explorer. What is nice is that you can then use the bonus action of any slot with the explorer, but we're only going to get that one more time. With the merchant, I could trade something. With the wrecked helicopter, I could go in and get one more item to put on the front here. I'm going to send the leader out to go deal with this. They're going to pick up these items. So 1 extra bullet and 1 extra food. That's going to get rid of the wrecked helicopter. We're then going to take a look and see what we've got for items that we can put on top. There's a machine gun. And that's pretty much it. That's the only thing I can really put on the top. I can put the Vulcan gun on top. There we go. We've got 1 extra. I did want that Vulcan gun. We've now got it. Everything else moves down. And we're going to be dealing with multiple enemies. 2, recruit a survivor. So it'll do that. It's now got its 6th survivor, which means any additional survivors it will simply upload. We got a driver up there. So I could eat some food, and I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to use the co-pilot to use a bullet to exchange with the merchant for food. I'm going to then also do some repairs. We're going to fix this back here. By doing this, we're going to gain an object. The object we gain is more nitrous oxide. So now we're going to get +2 for our movement. And she's going to go over here. And then during the rest phase, I'll eat some food and then just have her move forward. Over here, discard convoy. There are 2 enemies here, so really it's not going to make much difference what we see on here. There's only 1 card to deal with. So it's going to discard this convoy, move everything else down. It does get to repair some stuff. Currently it's over here. It's supposed to have revealed this by now. Sorry. And then this damage gets healed. 2, it's going to pick up another survivor. So this time, instead of actually adding a survivor meeple, it'll heal one of its existing survivors. We've got some additional stuff out here that I should put things on. We're going to put bullet, fuel, food, fuel, bullet. There we go. I'm out of bullet tokens. Holy cow. 1, that means it's just basically going to discard the encounter. We get that bullet back. Another card. Oh, we're going to get 3 enemies this time. Yay. And then finally 3. There's an enemy there, so it's going to gain some fuel. All right, so now we go to the movement phase. It gets to move first. It's going to move a total of 5 spaces, and we'll use shortcuts if possible. So 1, 2, 3. How many did I say? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So I think that puts it there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So it's getting close to the Aurora. The Aurora is not that far away. It does take 2 bullets, 2 damages. First in the B area. It's not a good place to catch that. forgot to rest. Holy cow. That's stupid. Everybody rests, and everybody comes back over here. That was really stupid. Thank you for not yelling at me. Second damage is going to be to C. Right there. Okay. So now I get to move. Now here's the thing. If I don't move at all, which is probably not a good idea, I'm not going to be involved with any of the enemies, which is not necessarily the worst thing in the world. I've got a bunch of people. I've only got one fuel. Right now I'm more than 6 behind, even by the shortest shortcut. So with everything involved, I'm going to get a total of 7 movement, which would put me 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Puts me right even, but it also means that I take 2 damage as a result. Whereas if I don't deal with any of this, I don't have to then deal with any of the ambushes. I don't have to deal with any of the enemies. I get to let the automata deal with all of that. But I also feel like between the automata and we've got enough bullets basically to deal with everybody. So I think I'm going to go ahead and use the fuel. We're going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. We're going to take 2 damage, which I think I'm going to go ahead and do here and here. I keep forgetting if I have to use this card if an enemy's not firing, if it's just damage from another source. But if I'm wrong, please let me know. And then we're going to go to the enemy phase. So first the ambushes happen. We're going to pair this up. They're all going to be in the fjord, so we're just going to put them over here. First, we can lose 1 resource, or the convoy receives damage in the front center. So we're going to go ahead and let the damage in the front sector hit our secondary weapon. Since we've only got 2 bullets, we don't need both weapons. The automata will lose 1 resource, so it'll lose 1 of its bullets. Ambush. Each player chooses to put a radiation on the survivor or receives 2 damage down bottom. We're going to go ahead and let there be 2 damage down bottom because we've got enough space in the armored tanker to do that. And then they're going to get radiated, so they'll get another survivor down there. Finally, for the last one, we've got the Immortal Wolf. Each convoy receives 1 damage in the front and 1 damage down below. So this was where I probably should have taken... Yeah, because the only way I can do that is if I lose a survivor or lose my big gun. So I probably should have looked ahead a little bit. I'm going to retroactively change this to go ahead and take that. We're then going to get damage there and there, but I do need to add radiation to somebody. We'll add it to the leader because we don't really need to explore that much. Actually, we'll add it to the prisoner. I have a cunning plan for that. All right. So now we get to resolve attacks. So first, the automata will attack. I believe they're going to go right to left. Oh no, it's going to be the lowest number versus the highest number. Sorry. This indicates which number it's shooting at. It's shooting at the highest number, which in this case is the 5. It's going to shoot at the Immortal Wolf, and it's going to shoot its 4-gun. So first it takes a bullet there, fires, and manages to get 1 hit. Awesome. Way to go. It's going to add its little thing here. We're going to go ahead and fire our 3 weapon. At the Immortal Wolf. We get a bonus hit for this. We got 3 hits. That is enough. So we're going to go ahead and take that damage off because we don't really need to do that. Each of us are going to go up 1 in terms of fame. And then we're going to draw a card to see who gets the loot. D to A. So it's going to get the loot. I'm just going to get an object. Asshole. Just really irritating. I've got an MRE, which means any phase, move 1 survivor from my rest zone to an active zone. And that's it for objects. I can't have any more objects on here. take these back. It's now going to shoot with its 3 weapon. It's going to shoot at the higher number, 4. And its 3 weapon does 2 damage. That's where I'm kind of wishing I had one more bullet. So it'll get some fame for that. I'm going to go ahead and shoot at that one with my machine gun, which will do 2 damage. It does 1 damage. That's enough to kill it. I go up in 1 in terms of fame. We're going to see who gets the loot. Once again, it is... I am getting screwed here. I am getting screwed royally. Holy cow. So it's going to get this loot as well. I am going to get an object. It is any phase repairs, and I'm going to go ahead and take that, and I'm going to have it kick in immediately. Because it's any phase. We're just going to take away all this damage. Actually, let's take away this instead of this. Not that it's going to make a difference. I've already used all my bullets. Okay, so I can't do any more firing. So now it's going to fire again, this time using the 2 gun, and this will be its last gun that it can use. It's going to do 3 plus damage, which means it gets the loot for this, as well as 1 more. It's going to repair 1 damage because it's maxed out on fame. I got wrecked with the loot this round. I am so bummed. I mean, yeah, it did great getting rid of all the enemies, but holy cow, this sucked. All right, so end of round, we have to add a damage to our convoy. End of round, we have to add a damage to our convoy. It's going to heal 1 of its radiation. I'm going to have to get one of my guys sick. Probably the shooter. I'm so irritated right now. That is so many, like, this is just, it's not even funny. It's not even funny. All right. So last round, let's put out the extra cards. Fallout Shelter, Bounty Hunter. We're going to put 2 food on here. Gas and bullet. And then, was there anything else? I think we got everything here. It's going to move this here and remove this last damage. That just sucked. I'll be honest. That just did not rub me the right way. That was so problematic. We still have to get a fuel. Now got a bunch of damage to deal with. I will get to go first. And again, I'm still not entirely sure whether these are single use or not. Like, this feels to me like it should be single use. Like, I could get where you might say it's only usable once per round. But right now, I mean, I'm on a new phase. Can't I just repeal 3 more damage? It's a new round. So again, it feels very unspecific. This sucked. Okay, so I get to explore first. I'm sending the shooter and the prisoner out together to go to the mine warehouse. They're going to do the healing, and they're going to take each of these. I'm not going to worry about weapons this time around. Its first card is 2 gather resources. So it's going to look at the left-hand most side. Grab that. This is good. This Slides down a little bit. We got another merchant. Because I did go there, I was supposed to take 2 more damage. We'll go ahead and let it damage the guns. All right. I want to get that survivor. I can have the 2 of them work together. Part of the problem is I don't have any space for the survivor. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to have the co-pilot go out on her own. I'm going to have her eat some food. And we're going to get the survivor, the bounty hunter. Mostly because if we have a prisoner, that will give us 2 extra points along with that. So we'll add a survivor to here. And move this up by 1. Early departure. All right, when events come out. This is the first time in 4 games now that I've had the event come out. And I literally do not know what to do about it. What surprises me is, again, this is something that I feel like should be very obvious from the rulebook about what to do. But there is not even, like, there's only 1 event card in here. In the entire thing, I think. Okay, yeah. If the event card is revealed, immediately resolve the specific effect and discard it and reveal another card. So we immediately reveal this. This is going to move ahead to the current number that matches the round. So it'll move to the end of the track. And then we reveal another card. And this time it's the armored container. All right. So theoretically, I could grab this, have her replace this, and be hunky-dory. Which might not be the worst thing in the world. I think my concern is that I really do need the food. And I'm worried about losing the food. Because I need to get the pilot up and active. I'm going to go ahead and do it. I'm going to go ahead and commit the leader to this. They're going to go ahead and take this armored car. It's going to replace the armored tanker, which automatically deals with all that damage. Did I forget to draw a card? I forgot to draw a card for them. So 2. Discard and counter. They get discard and counter. Then I would have had to have taken... I would have had to have gone here, actually, because the encounter was no longer there. So that's something to keep in mind. Which means I could get fuel. Yeah, let's... So, sorry to backpedal on this. I should have done the encounter first, because that was the second exploration. I just got a little lost there. The armored container would have been here, so I could have done one of these 3 actions, which means that I will go ahead and do the exploration action here. Take the hit on fame to get some fuel. So sorry, that's my bad. Now we're all caught up. Now the automata gets to go again. They're going to discard convoy part, and it's going to be the right-hand side. So that's going to go away. Really don't want another enemy to come out, but I have a feeling that that's going to be the case. Now the hermit can go, but it can only really go to 1 at the top. And over here, I have 2 options. So first of all, I will go ahead and just get rid of the radiation. That's the one that I really just want to use. I could, if I wanted to, instead of getting rid of the radiation, I could just shoot 1 forward, with the fuel and end up there, and then that way I get to move first and potentially get to the Aurora first. But in the end of the game, it matters who gets by it the farthest. So, and then I can discard the travelers and 1 resource to gain 2 stars and an object. Or I can discard the travelers to take all resources on this card and gain 1 object and 1 infamy. And I'm sorry, folks. The travelers, I think the other thing, the other question I have is why are we just getting rid of 1 resource? Do I keep the other resource? So if I keep the other resource, I will just simply keep the fuel. So let's check encounter cards. Yeah, so according to this card, you can either discard 1 resource from your own set of resources. So we're not going to do that. We're going to take everything here. We're going to rob you blind. We're going to gain an object, which in this case will be the incendiary ammo. We'll get rid of that. We healed the thing, and you guys are gone, and we lose 1 fame as a result. All right, this all comes down. I'm out of actions, so now it is just going to be our good friend, the Automata, dealing out the rest of its cards. So first up, 1, it's a convoy. Does some repair. I think I forgot to do a repair earlier, so I'm going to repair 2. 3, it's a survivor, so it's going to add a survivor. It's going to heal 1 of its members. Which means the last card, which means it's definitely going to be the enemy coming out. Oh, and all this should have come down too. Oh, all of that should have come down, which meant that the 3rd card was actually not the orphan, it was the enemy. So that is, which means that should go down there. We're going to give it some fuel. Okay. Last one is going to be 2. It's recruit a survivor, so it still gets that orphan. And heals a person. There we go. I am so sloppy when it comes to this game, I find. All right, so now we're going to go to the movement phase. The movement phase is going to be for the Automata first. It's got 2, 6, and 7. So it's going to go 7 places. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Wait. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I don't know where I was counting from again. Because if it could have taken the shortcuts, it would have taken the shortcut, right? To 2? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So it catches up with the Aurora. All right. I think I screwed that up somehow. All right, so then I get to go, and I also get to rest. I should have rested as well. We'll go ahead and rest and have our co-pilot rest with the extra food. There was no food for the Automata, so there's no point in worrying about that. So I'm going to get a total of 9 for the fuel. 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. We're way ahead. And I don't know how that works. I really don't. One thing that's not clear is that what happens if you go off the board. In this case, I've gone 6 extra spaces off the board, which I think actually matters. Because I think you actually get bonus points for how far ahead you are. So I'm counting that as 6 spaces ahead. If I'm wrong, just feel free to yell at me. However, now the movement phase is done, so we're going to get the ambush phase. Each amboy receives 1 damage to its bottom and 1 damage to its side. So I'm going to go ahead and let the damage hit the Vulcan gun. Actually, I'm going to let it hit the... Might as well let it hit the bonus move. There's no point worrying about that. And actually, in this case, I think we would actually pay attention to that, which means that we're fine on both parts. I don't know. It's very confusing. Very, very confusing. We're going to get some damage over here. So the first one is going to hit B. And the second one is going to hit C. All right, so first the Autonoma is going to fire. It does have one bullet left, and it gets to use its foregun. We'll go ahead and add this to the wolf, and we'll just keep it down here. It's a little bit easier. So we're going to deal one more card, and it deals 4 damage, which means it takes out the wolf. Gains 1 fame, which means it heals 1 damage, and it gets another loot card. It got every single loot card. I mean, I'm so frustrated with that. But that is the end of the enemy phase, and now we do the end of round phase, which in this case, we're definitely lower it than it on the fame track, so we don't worry about that. It heals one of its survivors. We have to add radiation to somebody. So we'll go ahead and add it to... I don't think it really matters who we add it to. We're just going to have one survivor that's radiated. We're going to add 1 bullet. Yeah. We're going to add 2 more damage to the vehicles. So we'll add them down here. All right, and so now we get to the end of stage scoring, which for the Automata, it gets 1 fame point for every 2 object cards. So 1, 2, 3. Got 3 points for that. It gets 3 points for this, so it's at 6. And then it gets 1 fame point for every survivor that has that's uncontaminated. So it'll get 12 points total. Now, if neither of us had reached the Automata, then we would take a note of what sort of spaces we were undamaged here. So we would have gotten 1, 2, 3, and 4 points for that. Total of potential 8 points, but in this case, we just look at the survivor. So it's got 12 points now. So now for us, we score... So again, we moved like a total of extra like 8 points, I think, ahead, or 6 points ahead. I'm going to count it as 6. This is, again, where it gets really confusing because it does not make any sense. We get 1 point for every unused object card, which, again, doesn't make any sense to me that these don't say discard on them. So I'm not going to count points from these because we pretty much did use them except for the incendiary ammunition. And I'll count that as 1 point. So we've got 7 points so far. No points here. We're going to get 2 points for our bounty hunter, 1 point for the prisoner. So that's 10. And we have 5 survivors that managed to survive without getting contaminated. So that's going to be 15 total, which means I came out ahead. Yeah, so that is the correct scoring. But again, I think one big rule clarification I need for this is what happens to objects that don't say discard? Do you just simply reuse them over and over again? I don't think that that's the case, but again, the rules don't have any specificity on that. So Mr. Chiboto, if you are watching this, please let me know in the comment section down below. But otherwise, I really enjoy this game. I think this is one of the sort of games that I would actually take the time to put together a cheat sheet on, like a single page that actually explains everything that you need to be aware of for endgame scoring, for the combat, for movement. I may go back and watch this video and just see whatever explanation, stories, questions I had. But thank you so much for joining me, and I'll be back tomorrow with a new game. See you tomorrow.